The wind reached the Widow Calder's ranch before people ever did. It came first, rolling low across the plains, bending the dry grass like bowed heads, carrying dust and memory and warning all at once. Old men in town said the wind changed when it crossed her land, said it sharpened, said it carried the grief of a woman who had buried her husband with her own hands and never softened again. Her ranch sat alone, 3 miles past the last fence of Bristle Creek, where the earth turned stubborn and the sky felt heavier. Most folks avoided it, some out of superstition, others out of fear. But many, especially men, came for one reason only: the stallion. Coal-black, broad-chested, eyes like polished obsidian. His name was Ragnar, and no one alive had ever ridden him longer than a few heartbeats. He had thrown trained wranglers, broken ribs, shattered pride, and turned confident cowboys into limping shadows of themselves. And the Widow Calder let them try. Eliza Calder had been beautiful once. Everyone agreed on that. Not the soft, delicate kind of beauty that wilted with time, but a sharp, iron-edged beauty that only hardened after loss. She wore black long after the mourning year ended. Not because she was required to, but because she chose to. Her hair, the color of burnt honey, was always braided tight, pulled back like she had no time for vanity. Her eyes were gray, almost silver, and held the kind of stillness that came from seeing too much and expecting nothing. Her husband, Thomas Calder, had been thrown from Ragnar 5 years earlier. No one spoke of it openly, but everyone knew. Thomas had believed patience could tame anything. He'd believed love could calm a wild heart. When Ragnar bucked him into the dirt and crushed his ribs beneath a pounding hoof, Eliza had run across the field screaming his name, skirts soaked with dust and blood. He died before sunset, and Ragnar never bowed again. Some said Eliza should have sold the horse. Others said she should have shot him, but she didn't. Instead, she made an offer. It began as a whisper in the saloon. "She's offering her eastern pasture," someone said. "No, she's offering half the ranch. You ride Ragnar, you get it all." The terms changed depending on who told the story, but the truth was simpler and crueler. Eliza Calder stood at the gate every Sunday morning and said the same words. "If you can ride my stallion from one end of the field to the other, without falling, the land is yours. No tricks, no saddles. No ropes, just raw will against raw power." 25 men tried. The first was Earl Maddox, loud and laughing, smelling of whiskey and arrogance. He strutted into the corral, tipped his hat to Eliza like he was already victorious, and bragged to the watching crowd, "I've broken worse than this beast." Ragnar waited, silent, still. The moment Earl swung onto his back, the stallion exploded. Dust filled the air. The sound of bone snapping cut through the cheers. Earl landed hard. Screaming, his leg twisted the wrong way. Eliza didn't flinch. She simply said, "Next." They came in all kinds. Young men, eager and foolish. Old hands, convinced experience would save them. Champions from rodeos. Broken men hoping to earn something back. One by one, Ragnar threw them. Some flew forward. Some sideways. One straight up before crashing down like a rag doll. 25 times, Eliza watched a man mount the horse. 25 times she watched him fall. Not once did Ragnar cross the field. Not once did Eliza smile. The 26th man did not come on Sunday. He came on a Tuesday afternoon when the sky hung low and the wind was quiet. His name was Jonah Reed. No one announced him. No crowd followed. He arrived alone, riding a tired bay mare, his hat pulled low, coat worn thin at the elbows. He was not young, not old either. His face carried the kind of wear that didn't come from years, but from grief. He tied his horse at the fence and waited. Eliza noticed him because he didn't stare at Ragnar. He stared at the ground. Jonah Reed had been a cowboy once, before the land dried up, before his wife died in childbirth, before the world took everything and gave nothing back. He had buried 2 graves behind, a broken homestead, and walked away, with nothing but guilt and silence. He wasn't there for the land. He wasn't there for the horse. He was there because something inside him was already broken, and broken. Things weren't afraid anymore. "You here to try?" Eliza asked. Jonah nodded. "You know the rules?" "Yes, ma'am." "You know what happened to the others?" "I do." She studied him, searching for bravado. "Found none. You'll die if you fall wrong." Jonah met her eyes then. "I already have." Ragnar lifted his head when Jonah entered the corral. Not aggressive, not fearful. Curious. Jonah didn't rush. He didn't reach out. He stood still, letting the horse see him. Minutes passed. Eliza frowned. No man had ever waited like this. Jonah approached slowly, speaking softly, not commands, not praise, just presence. When he mounted, he didn't kick. He breathed. Ragnar tensed, then surged forward. The ground shook. Dust rose. The watching ranch hands held their breath. Ragnar bucked hard. Jonah stayed. The stallion twisted, spun, reared. Jonah leaned, not forcing, not fighting, moving with the storm instead of against it. Halfway across the field, Ragnar screamed, a sound of rage and defiance. Jonah whispered something no one could hear. The horse slowed. Step by step, they crossed the field. When Ragnar stopped at the far fence, Jonah slid down, alive, unbroken. Still standing, No cheers came. Only the wind. Eliza felt something crack inside her chest. She had waited years for this moment, and now she wasn't sure what it meant. You win, she said quietly. Jonah shook his head. I didn't come for that. Then why? Jonah looked at Ragnar, now calm, breathing steady. Because some things aren't meant to be beaten, he said. Just understood. Eliza turned away so he wouldn't see the tears. Jonah stayed. Not as an owner, as a hand. He fixed fences, fed horses, spoke little. Ragnar followed him. And slowly, so did Eliza. Two broken souls, one wild heart, not tamed, but healed. Years later, folks still tell the story wrong. They say one cowboy conquered the stallion, but those who were there know the truth.